as I think it was Ellen that mentioned that, yes, she found out that it was my birthday. So it is, and I'm just feeling grateful.
Happy birthday.
Very, very grateful. So when I think about the gratitude for just waking up every new day, and especially every new year when I can mark that point where it's beginning the next circle around the sun. Often this is the song that comes to my mind. And I'm going to sing it once through just for us to take it in and breathe it in. And then we'll try a little experiment. We'll see how it works with the sound. I'm going to put you on mute and we'll do it call and response. So you take a deep breath in. Just breathe in the magnificence of this day. Open your eyes for a moment and just look around and take in the sunlight. Take in the beauty. Thank you for this day, Spirit. Thank you for this day. Thank you for this day, Spirit. Thank you for this day. This healing, this healing, this healing day. This healing, this healing, this healing day. Let's try it, call and response. Okay. I'll sing a line and you can echo. Sing nice and strong. If you're there in your own space, there's no reason to hold back. Let it be a celebration. Thank you for this day, Spirit. Thank you for this day. Thank you for this day, Spirit. Thank you for this day. This healing, this healing, this healing day. This healing, this healing, this healing day. All right. Thank you for this day, Spirit. Thank you for this day. Thank you for this day, Spirit. Thank you for this day. This beautiful, this beautiful, this beautiful day. This beautiful, this beautiful, this beautiful day. Thank you for this day, Spirit. Thank you for this day. Thank you for this day, Spirit. Thank you for this day. This healing, this healing, this healing day. And together, this healing, this healing, this healing day. 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 through your spine, roll your shoulders down and back. Take in a breath of savoring, really drinking in the magnificence of this day. Pause at the top, hold in that spirit of savoring, taking it into every cell. Exhale with a sigh, release and let go. Anything that needs to be offered out. Another deep breath in. Sip it in, drink it in, hold, enjoy, celebrate. Let the breath be a celebration of your aliveness right here in this moment. And let it go, release. One more. Lifting the breath all the way up into the chest. See if you can sip in a little bit more. Fill all the way to the brim. And exhale. Softening shoulders, softening the muscles in the face. Letting go of any tension, any holding. I'd like to begin with a couple of rounds of Kapalabhati, which is the energizing breath that's often known as the yogic cup of coffee, which is energizes the whole system, oxygenates every cell and the blood, and especially activates the brain. That's why it's often called the skull shining breath or the skull polishing breath. So we're going to take a breath in, and we're going to do a series of exhales, sharp, strong contractions, the belly drawing in, so like a strong, as if you're blowing a bug out of your nose. You may want to take a tissue or a hanky and blow your nose before you do this, because it does expel whatever's in there. So clear your nostrils. Lift and lengthen through your spine, roll your shoulders back, open your heart. The inhale is a passive inhale, so just when the belly relaxes, naturally the breath will come in. So the focus is all on the exhale. And if this doesn't feel appropriate for you, if you've had abdominal surgery recently, or you have high blood pressure that's not controlled by medication, or if you're pregnant, you don't want to do this. You can just do your long, deep 3-part breaths. Otherwise, let's polish our skulls and light up our brains with some Kapalabhati pranayama. Deep breath in. Complete exhale through the nose. Inhale to about 2/3 and begin. Exhale, 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 exhale. Keep going. Also, if you have just eaten breakfast and you've got a lot of food in your stomach, it might not be the right thing for you to do this morning at this time. The movement is just from the belly, strong, sharp contraction in and up of the navel. Feel that strong expulsion through the nose. Clearing out stagnation, clearing out the cobwebs from the mind, from the brain. If you feel lightheaded or dizzy, you can always stop and return to just deep, slow, even breaths. It's all out through the nose and passive inhale through the nose. Lips are closed. Slow it down. Deep breath in. Fill all the way up. Savor it. Hold for a moment. And exhale through the mouth. Stick out your tongue. Fold forward. As if you're letting go of all of that stagnation. Completely release all the breath. And inhale. Sit up. Once again, lift the breath all the way up into the chest. To embrace the heart with your breath, soften your shoulders, sip in a little bit more breath. Hold. Feel all that enlivening energy. When you're ready to release that held breath, slowly and softly release. Return to a few long, slow, deep, normalizing breaths. Dirgha pranayama, long breath, belly, ribs, and chest. Emptying chest, ribs, and belly. Feel what's shifted in you. Feel the energy shift as a result of Kapalabhati pranayama, the skull shining breath. Notice if there's any increased alertness or aliveness. And let each in-breath be taking in of gratitude for that aliveness, that prana that is circulating through you. Arms reach and rise. Let the breath lift the arms. Fingertips reach to the sky, through right, through left. Exhale, sweep wide and down. Just bringing the breath and the awareness and the movement to sync up. One more, arms lift. The breath lifts the arms, palms come together overhead. Exhale, draw them down to the center of the chest, back to the heart. And we'll do another round of Kapalabhati pranayama, shining and polishing our skulls, enlivening our whole system with prana. So again, you can always simply do deep 3-part breaths in and out through the nose. Otherwise, if you are going to join in Kapalabhati pranayama, you may want to have your hand on your belly just so that you can feel where the breath is supposed to originate from. It's not supposed to be from the chest. There's no lifting and lowering of the shoulders. There's no scrunching of the face. It's just simply a pulling in and up of the navel, creating that expulsion through the nose. So deep, long, slow breath in. Fill all the way up, delicious breath. Exhale completely. Emptying out, draw the navel in toward the spine, like a slow motion contraction in and up. Inhale to about half to 2/3, and begin. Exhale, 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 exhale. All the focus is on the exhale. You can trust that the inhale is going to be there as a passive releasing of the abdominal muscles. Creates a vacuum. It happens on its own. So you can do about 1 second per pulse, or if you feel comfortable and want to juice it up a little more, you can pick up the pace to about a 1/2 second. Stay long in the spine. Stay open in the heart. Long through the back of the neck. Bridging earth and sky with your tailbone rooting down and the crown of the head lifting skyward. Slow it down. Last one. Inhale, big breath in. Let's let the arms reach and rise. Reach through right, reach through left. Exhale, place the palms down. Expel all the breath. Squeeze out. Lift the navel in and up. Really see if you can milk that exhale so you completely release any stagnation. And slowly lift up. Take a long, delicious breath in. Fill up into the chest and hold. Here, if you want to drop the chin to the chest, to create throat lock, to contain the energy. So you're kind of putting a lid on the top of that vessel of prana, you can do that. And you can lift the muscles of the pelvic floor, the perineum up toward the navel. That creates a seal at the bottom. So no prana leaks out and it stays moving through the Sushumna, the central spinal nerve. Hold and enjoy. And when the need to release the breath becomes strong but not strained, simply lift the chin, exhale, let it go, and feel that flood of prana through you. Take a couple of normalizing breaths. And notice the effects of Kapalabhati pranayama, the yogic cup of coffee or skull shining breath. You are alive. Celebrate that. So I'd like to do one more exercise that brings awareness to the prana flowing through us. Most of you are aware of the 7 chakras that I often talk about that live from the base of the spine all the way up to the crown chakra, hovering above the crown of the head. Those are the 7 sacred energy centers that make up your energy body and all the different levels of consciousness that you move through. But you also have 2 minor chakras in the palms of your hands. And these chakras that are in the palms of your hands are actually used to move energy from within you out into the world. And energy healers, energy workers, and healers use these chakras to do their laying on of hands work and energy work. So we're going to do something that brings awareness to those 2 chakras in the center of the palms. So I'd like you to begin by taking your left hand. I'm not going to mirror you here. Take your left hand and extend it, and take both arms and extend them shoulder height. And turn your left palm up and right palm down, because everything works through polarities. So we've got up and down, polarities, receiving and sending. And we're going to begin by very quickly pulsing the hands, very quickly, opening, closing, opening, closing. Go as fast as you can and make it vigorous, pulsing, opening, closing, opening and closing. Breathe deeply as you do this. You're going to feel some heat, maybe feel a little fatigue in the arms, but that's okay. Keep going. Now, this is what we do. This is just really what we do when we do asana. We're doing with our hands what we do when we practice asana, expanding and contracting through the body. And that is what opens us to prana, increases, and the flow of prana unblocks the flow of prana. Turn the palms the other way. Keep going. Open, close, open, close. Notice the heat that's building. Breathe into it. Open, close, open, close. And then bring the hands together and rub them, rub them, rub them, rub them to stimulate those 2 chakras in the center of the palms. Rub, rub, rub till you really feel that heat. Nice and fast. Rub, 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 rub. And then separate the hands, bring them about shoulder width, and feel all of the energy, all of the tingling, all of the aliveness. And slowly bring the hands closer to one another and see what you notice. Slowly see, perhaps if you notice there's a point where you can feel magnetism between the palms as the chakras in those 2 hands light up and relate to one another. Maybe you can sense that there's an energy ball there. And there is. That's the energy of your prana moving through you, creating a circuit of energy. And maybe you want to play with that ball, see how you want to move it, maybe turning it around. Just use your intuitive sense of where the energy wants to move here. What happens if the hands come closer together? Does that increase that sense of magnetism and energy? What happens when you pull away? This just gives us a palpable sense of the movement of prana through us. And then you may notice that it begins to dissipate a little bit. Closing the eyes, you can bring the palms over the eyes just to rest around the bony structure around the eyes. And just let all that life force draw right into the eye sockets and into the brain. As a moment of turning inward, pratyahara. Drawing the attention inward, drawing the energy inward. Maybe you notice light and energy. Maybe you see actual geometric shapes and designs of mandalas behind your closed eyelids, or just flashes of light. It's also energy. Maybe you're just enjoying the sweet silence, the sweet darkness. Turning the attention inward. And then take the hands and just rub around the cheekbones and the face, the forehead. Just take all that energy that you brought into your hands and bring some healing and softening energy around the areas that we feel tension in the head, the face, the neck, the shoulders. Give yourself a little massage. And then bring the hands to the heart, palm over palm. And just honoring yourself for who you are, for being here, for being alive, and with a sense of gratitude. Let's take a deep breath in and offer out in gratitude for that aliveness, that prana within us and around us, with the sound of Om. Deep breath in. Om. Gently let the eyelids lift, soft gaze. Stretch out your legs, shake them out, maybe give them a little pat down. Okay, there we go. Point and flex the feet. A little bit of circling one way and circling the other way. And then swing your legs around and come into your child's pose. But this time, as you come into child, have the inner thighs together so that your belly rests on top of your thighs and the forehead right on the mat. We're going to be coming into yoga mudra. So if you don't feel comfortable with just the crown of the head on the mat, you may want to take a folded blanket and put it under your head. If you have sensitivity on the crown of the head. So just first begin by reaching the fingers out toward the front of your mat, letting your sitting bones sink back to your heels. Lots of slow, deep breath in and out through the nose. And perhaps there's a prayer or an honoring or an offering of gratitude or an intention that you'd like to set for our movement portion of our practice today as we come into this physical gesture of offering. And then bringing the hands back behind you, interlace the fingers just behind the sacrum area. The crossed thumbs are going to be just resting right around the sacrum. And on the next inhale, lift the arms, straighten the arms so you feel that that expansion across the chest and the front of the shoulders, shoulder blades squeeze toward the center, then lift the hips and let the crown of the head roll onto the mat so you're supporting yourself on your knees, on the crown of your head. Your thigh bones go vertical so hips are stacked over knees. Reach those clasped hands up to the sky. Maybe you want to point your fingers to the sky in that temple mudra if that feels good. Maybe taking a little rolling forward and back on the crown of the head. A little cranial massage. Breathe into that and enjoy. If it's not comfortable for you to be on the crown of your head, even with a blanket, you can place hands beside your head so you don't have quite so much weight on your head. And when you're ready, you can release the hands, place them down beside your head, and press up into table. Take some cat-cow. And enjoy exploring these undulations of the spine and opening of the heart. Movements of the pelvis, perhaps tucking toes under to stretch the bottoms of the feet. Breathe and enjoy. Maybe it feels good to take a little wagging of the tail, side to side, sliding feet from left to right. And then coming back to center, in your table pose, slide your left foot back and press out through the heel, down and forward into the hand so you feel a little juice in the lower leg. The whole back of the leg will light up here, but especially you'll feel it in the calf muscle, bottom of the feet perhaps, bottom of the foot on the left side. Press down and forward into the hands. And then back into this three-legged table. We'll take it right into table balance. So lift that left leg straight back behind you. Right hand straight forward. Feel the core light up as the front body engages to support the spine. Back of the neck long. Reach long. Grow an inch longer if you can. From toes to fingertips. And then exhale. Forearm to thigh. Chin to chest. Inhale. Expand and contract. And just as we did with our hands opening and closing, we're opening and closing here with the whole body, expanding and contracting. That pulsing energy, opening and freeing up the flow of prana, except we do it in slow motion with the breath here. The breath is also your expansion and contraction. And next time you expand, hold here once again. Level the hips and find that one long horizontal line through the back body. And that includes the back of the neck. So you're looking down. Reach back through those left toes and send energy out the toes. Then here, bring your right palm down and we're going to pivot on the kneeling knee to open up into a kneeling half moon. So you're going to bring that horizontal line right through the side body, through your whole left side body, and it's not going to be mirror image here. So you're going to need to pivot with the kneeling knee so your foot slides over to the right side of your mat. So grow long and wide and see if you can keep your foot in line with your hip, reach the crown of the head toward the front of the mat. So you've got that the horizontal axis through your core and your leg, and the vertical axis from hand to hand. Big breath in, and then if it feels good, you can do a hand to foot bow kick, same side of course. So left hand grabs left foot, arch back, big breath in, kick into that hand, and when you're ready to release, the left toes float down, the left hand reaches away into a half circle. You may want to come up onto your right fingertips or fists here. Grow long from tippy toes to fingertips. And we'll take those big circles, sweeping with that upper hand, rolling the shoulders open, the belly open, the hips open, with lots of breath in that gesture of, it's good to be alive. That's what I'm feeling today. That's what I hope you're feeling today. Let's express that with our body and breath. And grab the golden cord hanging down from the heavens. Let it draw you up and prepare you for gate pose. So you're going to externally rotate that extended leg. Let the right arm lift up and over into opening your gate. Just sliding the left hand down to the left shin or back of the hand to the calf. Reach long, open wide through the ribs on that right side of your body. Big breath, and then back into your half circle. Grow long, and then pivot the hips. You're going to come back, and you're going to pivot on that knee as well. So you're back to that table with the left leg stretched out. Here we'll take it into a twist. Press left hand down. Right hand rises to the sky. So we come into turning the heart to the right, stacking one shoulder on top of left, right on top of left. I can't talk today. Exhale, thread it through as you bend the left elbow. Reach long, tuck the right shoulder under. Inhale, open up into that twist again toward the right. Exhale, tuck it under, thread the needle toward the left. One more time, open up. Exhale, thread it through. And this time when you open up facing right, the option here is to take it into a bind, reaching the right hand back behind you to the left hip, or slide the fingers under, tips of the fingers toward the navel. Look up at the sky, big breath, and exhale, release. Okay, before we do the other side, let's curl the toes under and press back to downward facing dog. Stretch through the backs of the legs here, and we'll take it through the connecting vinyasa in case some of you are raring to go with that sequence. So taking a couple of breaths, downward facing dog, maybe sending one heel and the other toward the earth, lifting navel in and up, pressing down and away with the hands. As you inhale, come forward into your plank, nice firm plank, shoulders over wrist, long line through the back body. Exhale, knees, chest, and chin. Inhale, cobra, maybe a low cobra, maybe full cobra feels available. Soften shoulders, spread the heart. Let this gesture also be the expression in your body of, it's good to be alive. Exhale, release. Press up through table, back to child. Inhale, rise up back into table. You're going to slide the right foot back and press down and forward into the hands to stretch the calf and the back of the right foot. Breathe into that. And then coming back into shoulders and wrists stacked. Come into your table balance, grow long. Belly activated, hips level. Let that line grow a little longer. Big breath in. Exhale, contract. Expanding and contracting. Prana, life energy, your essential aliveness, your vital life force pulsing through you with every expansion and contraction. Grow long and hold again in table balance. Ujjayi breath here. And bring the left hand down, pivot on the left knee. Open it up into your kneeling half moon. See if you can find that horizontal line through the core, through the leg, right up through the crown of the head, vertical line from hand to hand. And you want to roll that upper hip open as best you can. You want to enjoy the benefit of an open hip here. Take it into that bow kick if that served you. This is, of course, optional. Breathe and enjoy. Kick back into the hand. And then take it into your half circle, coming up on fingertips or fists. Press the hips forward, reach long. And then take it into those sweeping circles. Once again in that gesture, it's good to be alive. If you want to take it into that ancient mantra that expresses that sentiment, you can go, woohoo! Reach up for the golden cord, let it draw you up into your gate pose, externally rotate your extended leg, open your gate. Hold here for another breath, see if you can soften that left shoulder down, away from the ear a little bit. Open your gate a little wider. And back into your half circle. Roll long. And take it back into that three-legged table. You can just have your right leg extended. We'll take it into that twist. Lift left arm, stack left shoulder on top of right. Big inhale. Exhale, thread the needle, reach it through. Inhale, twist to the left. Exhale, thread through to the right. Tucking the left shoulder under. Opening and threading through one more time. With breath moving the body always. Open it up once again in that half circle twist and take it into the bind if you enjoyed that. Letting that upper shoulder, that left shoulder roll open and back, look up at the sky. See if you can drop the right hip a little bit more. But notice if there's any drooping of the back leg and keep that leg powered up and active. Release. Come back into your table pose. Press back into downward facing dog. Breathe and enjoy. Adho Mukha Svanasana. Take it forward into plank pose. One long line. Lower down, knees, chest, chin. Inhale, cobra. Exhale, release cobra. And let's meet back in downward facing dog. And from your down dog, I invite you to lower the knees down. So we're going to come into, I'm just going to turn my orientation here, but you can stay where you are. You're back in table, slide your toes to the outside edge of your mat. Walk your hands back toward your knees, and we're going to transition right into Malasana, the squat pose. Now, if this doesn't feel comfortable for you, squat is not always okay for everyone's knees. So one thing you can do is grab your block, place it under your sitting bones for a little support. You still want to have nice wide legs, so your feet are going to be heels at least as wide as your shoulders. If this doesn't work for you, then you can just come into a standing squat, supporting yourself with your hands, and maybe do a little pulses there as your squat practice. Otherwise, for those of us who are comfortable in Malasana, the garland pose, palms come together, and that's the same root of the word mala, garland, wearing a garland of beads around the neck. Palms come together, and notice how my lower arms are parallel. They're not like this. So you want to see if you can give that little push, and that's going to encourage the hips to open a little more and the inner thighs to stretch. Now see if you can bring a spirit of gracefulness into this squat. Is that possible to be graceful in a squat? So it's not like squatting in the woods. It's like a prayerful squat, drawing the heart forward, rolling the shoulders down, and shoulder blades down the back body, crown lifts. This is a giving birth pose in many cultures. And then from here, hands come down toward the mat slowly. Lift the hips and pivot on the heels so the toes turn straight ahead. You want to come into your forward bend. It's a wider leg forward bend than we usually do, so enjoy the lengthening of the backs of the legs here. Let the head be loose. Find some movements of the spine that feel good. And maybe if you want to create a little more energy and fire in your practice, you can do some pulsing of the legs. Inhale, squat. So you're going to let your thighs come parallel and your spine come parallel to the floor. Exhale, fold. Inhale through the nose, exhale through the nose. Building a little fire with the breath. One more. And then pivot on the heels. The toes are going to turn out 45 degrees. Soften the knees, roll up. Stacking one vertebra on top of the other. Roll the shoulders down and back. Come to standing. The feet shoulder width apart, toes turned out, hands on the hips. We'll just do a little bit of circling of the hips. Wouldn't it be cool if this is something that people felt okay doing online at the supermarket? Can you imagine being online at the supermarket or at the bank? I mean, assuming that we go back to days when I guess we are going to supermarkets and banks now. But if people were online and kind of doing this, how would the world be different if we just felt okay about that aspect of this is all second chakra energy, fluidity, connected with water energy, gracefulness, pleasures, and sensuality, and sexuality. If we were able to walk around in public and just do this, first of all, our hips would be a lot looser. And I think we'd all be happier, juicier people. That's my philosophizing of the day. Come back to center. And you're going to keep the knees soft here. We're going to take empty coat sleeves. So, like in the opposite heel lift here and the arms swing. Give yourself a little tap in your kidney area as your arms swing around back. Inhale, center. Exhale with a ha. 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 Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. Ha. Again, the focus is on that strong exhale from the belly, just like we did with Kapalabhati. But the inhale is a little bit more active here. Inhale through the nose, exhale through the mouth. Ha, 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 ha. And begin to slow it down. Ha, let it melt into exhaling into a sigh. Come back to center, turn the palms open. And normalizing the breath with a few long breaths in and out through the nose. Enjoy the sensation of the rivers of prana flowing through your whole system. Heel toe the feet to hip width apart. Come toward the front of your mat. I'm going to turn sideways so you can see me here. In mountain pose, hands at the heart. I'm going to take it into a flow of postures that if you may need to have a block nearby or both blocks so that we can take, actually you may need a block on both ends of your mat. So just a heads up about that for this. No, actually, I think we're only going to be turning open this way, so I'm going to go this way. Okay, blocks at the front of your mat. Coming into mountain hands at the heart, reconnect with that intention that you set when we were in child pose making our own personal offering. And as the hands come together in front of the heart, as we begin to move through this energizing sequence of postures, let every action and every breath be an offering. It's one of the central teachings of yoga. Inhale, arms reach and rise like the rising sun. Reaching through the right and the left, heart and hands and gaze lift in that gesture where we say with our bodies and our hearts, it's good to be alive. Exhale, dive into forward bend. Inhale, take it into a half lift, long spine, activate the core. Exhale, fold. Step back with right foot and come into your high lunge. High lunge this time, so back of the knee lifts. We're going to rise right up into a balancing warrior one. So the hips are square to the front. You're on the ball of your back foot. Soften the shoulders, spread the heart, and come into a gesture with the upper arms that feels celebrative for you, where you're saying with your body, it's good to be alive. So it could be a little wider with the arms. Maybe you're celebrating the goddess energy in you. Maybe hands at the heart. Express that for you. Just breathe into that for another couple of breaths. Let the back of the right knee lift so that back leg is powered up and the tailbone connecting with the earth. Let the hands come back behind you. Interlace fingers spread wide through the heart. Notice how the inner thighs have to activate to keep you steady and balanced here. Look up at the sky. Releasing the hands and spin the back heel inwards. You're going to open up into warrior two. So now your right foot comes flat, toes turn in slightly, opening up into Virabhadrasana 2, warrior 2. And we're going to take it into some playful flow here. But first, make sure your hips and your shoulders are aligned, knee drawing toward pinky toe on that front knee. The extended leg, nice and straight and firm, rooting into the outer edge of your foot. Inhale, leg straightens and palms come together. Exhale, warrior 2. Take that into your own flow. Palms come together. Exhale, land more deeply and powerfully each time into warrior 2. So it's like you're gathering your energy and then you're sending it out into the world. Another variation of this is you can gather the energy, exhale, draw it down through your heart center, and then send it out at shoulder, arms out at shoulder height. So that makes it a nice gesture of gathering in and sending out your life force with love. One more time, gather in, send it out. Hold here, warrior 2, turn the left palm up and take your dancing warrior. Inhale, open through the left side body. Exhale, right through warrior 2 into extended side angle. Keep rooting down through the outer edge of your extended leg. And here you might want to take it into a flow here, going from dancing on the in-breath, long exhale through warrior 2, another inhale into extended side ankle, Parsvakonasana. So play with that. If your front leg gets fatigued, you can always straighten that leg, taking a break, and then land back into your warrior 2. And next time you land in Parsvakonasana, maybe take it into a bind if that's enjoyable for you. The bind of your choice, maybe full bind reaching under, grabbing wrist behind you. And then releasing bind, pivot on the hips, pivot the hips to face forward and come into an revolved side ankle lunge. And come into that twist. Step back into plank, flow through vinyasa as you choose. So if you're ready for chaturanga, up dog, you can take that. Or stay with knees, chest, chin to cobra. Meeting in down dog, take a couple of breaths here. We're going to step through with the right foot. So if you'd like to take a three-legged dog, you can lift that high, keep the heart low. Step it through into high lunge. Just take a moment to square your hips and power up the back leg, and then lift up into your expression of warrior one balancing, also known as crescent lunge. Bring your attention to the front of your hip flexor here on the left side, and do what you need to do to gently open that. Maybe a few little pulses here with the hands on the hips. Maybe bending the back knee and then straightening it, because sometimes this can feel really tight. And tuck the tail, pubic bone comes forward, lift the ribs away from the pelvic bowl, and find your expression of it's good to be alive today. Whether it's contemplative, full of gratitude with hands at the heart, goddess, warrior. And then we can reach hands back behind you to clasp in yoga mudra, what I call the courageous warrior. It takes a lot of courage in this life. My guru Neem Karoli Baba said, courage is a very important thing. That's all he said about it. Courage is a very important thing. Kind of cryptic statement, but we can explore what that means to us on our own. Spin the back heel inward 45 and wheel open into your warrior two. Hips open to the left side of your mat. And knee toward pinky toe. And find that imaginary line that goes from the middle of your front foot all the way through the mat to the middle of your back foot. And find that flow, palms come together overhead. Exhale, land in warrior two. Gathering your energy in. Exhale, sending it out with strength, with courage, with determination. And so you can also gather in, draw it down the center line, and send it out this way. I like this movement, I like this flow. Gathering in, as if we're drawing in life force. And then directing our life force in a very clear and focused way. Those arms being like the sword of intention that cuts through all of the confusion and the doubt and the fear. And then take it into your dancing flow, opening up into dancing warrior. Exhaling right through warrior two into extended side angle. Inhale, dancing. Exhale through warrior two. Inhale. So we talked about the expansion and contraction, that pulse that invites the flow of prana. So the expansions are typically on the inhale, and the deepening, the contractions where we're coming into a strong pose, is often on the exhale. So you're going to inhale as you expand the side of the body here in Dancing Warrior. Exhale as you land in that powerful, steady warrior two. Inhale as you expand to the side body on the other side. And then take it into your bind, however you enjoy playing with bind. Reaching long and then pivot the hips and come into your lunge, back into a revolved side angle twist. Big breath. Exhale, release. Step through, step back, and flow through vinyasa. Meeting in downward facing dog. Lift the left leg behind you, taking that three-legged dog on that side. Step it through. And step the back foot up to meet the front foot, so we come back into that half forward bend, long spine. Exhale, release, forward fold. And softening the knees once again, sweeping up, palms meet overhead, gathering once again that intention, that prayer, bringing it back to your heart. It's good to be alive. All right, let's take it into a little bit of balance play. I just want to check the time. Yeah, okay, perfect. All right, so from the front of your mat, here's where your blocks may be useful, so have them within arm's reach. Inhale, sweep up, arch back. Exhale, deep dive forward. Inhale, right foot back. And then this time, you may want to use your blocks, or maybe even one block with just pressing into the corners of the block on the medium setting. Spring off into your warrior three. So you're going to find, just like the standing poses we're doing today are a lot like the poses that we did when we began our practice on the knee. Press out through the heel. Find that as if you can either stay in a standing, basically what's a standing table balance, maybe opposite arm and leg here, or you can come into your warrior three, arms come into airplane arms, keeping that horizontal line through the back body, hands at the side, or hands forward in that temple pose. You want a little unlocking of the standing leg so you don't hyperextend. Keep the hips squared. And then if you want to take it into a balancing half moon, like we did on our knees, only we're going to do it standing here. Stacking the right hip on top of the left, keeping the foot in line with the hip. And if it feels available, you can do that bow kick that we did before. Maybe that'll be there for you, maybe not, but that's an option to play here. So balancing half moon. Horizontal line through the core and the legs and the crown. Vertical line from hand to hand. When you're ready to release, pivot the hips so you come back into facing down as if you're in your table balance here. And float that back leg down. Hands frame that front foot. Step back. Flow through vinyasa or take a rest in child before we do the other side, because this is a strong sequence. So you can take some time in child, or we can go through the vinyasa flow to meet in down dog. And this time, bring both feet between the hands. Forward fold. We'll do the other side in a moment. Sweeping up. Palms meet overhead. Back to the heart. Inhale. Arms reach and rise. Arch back. Dive deep. Half lift. And release. Step back left foot. In your high lunge. And here's where your block can be useful, just to help you spring off and just steady yourself for a moment before coming into hands free. So it's fine to do opposite arm and leg in table balance, standing table balance, or full warrior three here. Keep your hips level with one another as best you can. Knee and toes turn to face down. Front body, the core activates to support the back body. And when you're ready, you can take it into your balancing half moon, Ardha Chandrasana. So now, one shoulder is stacked over the other, one hip is stacked over the other. Got the horizontal and vertical lines, and if you want to take it into that bow kick, play with that. It really helps to have the block under the shoulder because it keeps everything, the torso, in that horizontal line with the rest of the body. Release when you're ready. And then turn the hips so that you are pivoting, so you're facing your hips downward, heart downward. Slowly lower the back leg down. If you'd like to flow through vinyasa one more time, you can do that. Or just take a moment in child. Otherwise, we'll meet in down dog. And when you're ready, we'll step the left foot forward. Right foot comes up to meet it. Forward bend. Inhale, sweep up. Palms join. Draw the hands back to the heart. It's good to be alive. Okay. So let's take it into some upside down, time for our shoulder stand and plow sequence. Some of you just might want to do legs up in the air with a block underneath you. I am going to show you, for those of you who are interested, I'll show you how I support myself in shoulder stand. I have one of these personal gym mats. It's only about this big, and it folds in 3 sections. And I got this at Dick's Sporting Goods. I bet you could order it online from them. And I have found this to be perfect, much better than even using blankets for doing the shoulder stand, because this is firmer and it's easier to set up than blankets. I like to fold it so that I've got 2 folds of thickness under my shoulders. Some people would be fine with just 1. So that's an experiment that you could do for yourself. But what I do is I can place my mat over, I'm going to line it up so that I've got the thicker part of the mat, thicker part of the gym mat underneath my shoulders, and the yoga mat goes over it just for traction, so it's not slippery. You see I've got a big cliff right here off the edge. I've got about, I don't know, about 4 inches, 3.5, 4 inches of height here. So now, when I bring my shoulders just almost to the edge, about 1 inch from the edge, because once I lift my legs, I am going to move this way. I can even do this with my headset on, because I have lots of space between my neck and the floor. So I'm going to hug my knees in, and then I'm going to take a little lift, bringing my hands under the hips, keep my knees bent to walk my elbows together. For me, it's available to take plow. For some of you, it might not be, but I'm going to keep the knees bent, so just I get my elbows tucked as close together as I can. And then I can get a complete vertical lift without any strain on the neck, because there's lots of space between the back of the neck and the floor. My hips stack over the shoulders, the knees, the ankles, the hips and shoulders are in line. And I can feel a stretch in the back of the neck, but no pain. I'm supported completely on my shoulders, backs of the arms, the upper arms and shoulders. So that's just something you might want to be aware of for some yoga props that you might want to consider. If you find that doing shoulder stand on the mat without any support is hard for you to get that upright. This opens up a whole new world in shoulder stand, to be vertical like this. You can also take the feet together in a diamond shape, so it's a hip opener as well. Or opening the legs out in a wide leg stance, or I don't know if you'd call it a stance, being upside down. We'll call it a dance. You can also come into plow pose for here, but just be aware that your feet are going to have to go a few inches further. You can do one-legged plow, taking turns. Or you could do plow with both legs. And you can get a little bit more lift, the sit bones to the sky, or bent knee plow. So take for yourself whatever exploration of shoulder stand and plow feels appropriate for you now with the equipment that you have. If you do not have a blankets folded under you, or you do not have a mat like this to use, then your shoulder stand would be safer, especially for most of us who are older than 35. You want to have a little bend in the hips, and that takes the pressure off the back of the neck. So this is a modified shoulder stand if you're going to be flat on the mat. You still get a nice benefit of being upside down, but it is even sweeter and more wonderful when you can have that support under the shoulders so you can straighten up completely. When you're ready to release your shoulder stand and plow, or if you're doing just legs up in the air, slowly find your way out and come into Shavasana for a moment on the mat just to integrate that. Let the breath settle into its comfortable rhythm. Notice where you feel the heat and aliveness. And then bring your hands close to your side of your torso and set up the feet for bridge pose. We're going to take Setu Bandhasana bridge. Heels lined up with the sitting bones. Close to the buttocks, if you can, enough to touch with the tip of your longest finger, your heel. Walk your shoulders away from the ears and roll up the spine into bridge. See if you can get the upper back lifted off so you're supporting yourself just on your shoulders, maybe interlacing fingers, lifting hip pointers to the sky. Breathe and enjoy. Inner thighs are active toward the center. You keep the knees over the ankles. Whenever you're ready to release your bridge pose, roll down mindfully down the spine, one vertebra at a time, laying down that mala, one beat at a time. Hug the knees in, a little rocking side to side. I'm going to give you an opportunity to do bridge pose again with a variation. Some of you may want to do full wheel. I'm going to demonstrate full wheel, and that may not be appropriate for everyone. If full wheel isn't appropriate, you can take a block and put it underneath you. See if you can lift your heels, pressing the balls of the feet into the mat, so you need a little bit more height, so the edge of the block is right under the sacrum. And if having the block this high in the highest setting is not comfortable for you or doable for you, you can have it in the medium setting. The idea is you want your hips to be higher than your heart if you can, and just enjoy the support of that. So if you're needing a gentle expression a bridge or wheel today, you can take the supported hip lift. If you want to come into full wheel, I guess I'll face this way so that you can see what I'm doing with my hands. I'm going to set up for bridge. This time I'm going to place the hands, the palms right beside the ears, with my hands turned so that my fingers point down toward my hips. So the heel of the hand, the wrist, faces the back of the mat. Elbows point straight up. And this is a tricky one to get that lift, so I'm going to show you a couple of options here. You roll up just like bridge and maybe take a pause for a moment on your head to just steady yourself. And then straightening the arms, press into the palms. Try to straighten the arms. That's the hardest part for a lot of people. You can lift the heels to get a little more lift. Chakrasana, the wheel pose, gives you wonderful front body stretch, the whole front of the torso, great back bend and heart opener. Coming down, you want to come down with control, roll onto the crown of the head and into the back of the head. And hug the knees in. I know I'm being a little more workshoppy today in my instruction, and so this may or may not be appropriate for you. If you want to do your own thing, that's fine. Those of you who want to get, if it's hard, a little hard on the wrists, a little bit too much extension of the wrist, or if it's just difficult to get that straightening of the arms, you can take the blocks, place them against the wall so that there's enough room for your head in between, and place them going out the long way from the wall. I don't know if you can see this that easily, but I've got the blocks placed here and here. I'm going to bring my head in between them, but not all the way back to the wall, just a little bit toward the front end of the blocks. I'm going to press the palms into the blocks. Maybe I'll do a video tutorial on this where it'll be easier to see. But you're going to press the center of the palm into the block, the fingers down. So you don't want the fingers to be on the top of the block. You want the fingers to be on the front edge of the block. And press into the block. So you're going to press the block into the wall or the molding. And that way you have a little bit more of an angle and a little more leverage to press up without putting so much strain on the wrist. Oh yes, this is so lovely. And not necessarily appropriate for everyone. So when you are complete with your nice deep back bend, slowly hug your knees in toward your chest. Rock side to side if that feels good. Rocking yourself like a baby. And speaking of babies, I'm thinking, of course, of my own babiness on this day, my birthday. Let's take it into the happy baby, I almost said the happy birthday pose. Happy baby, happy birthday pose. Grabbing either the soles of the feet or the big toes, or anywhere on the feet where you can grab, or even ankles. Drawing the knees down on opposite sides of the rib cage. See if you can get the legs in an L shape. Thighs parallel to the floor, lower legs straight up and down. Soles of the feet face to sky, and play a little bit. Remember to press the sacrum down into the mat, so you're lengthening through that whole low back area. Enjoying that remembrance of a time, an uncomplicated time in your life, when you were that happy baby, when everything was taken care of for you. And you didn't have a mind full of decisions to make, or insecurities, or hopes and dreams. You were completely living in the moment. And so in honor of that happy baby, that is the essential, the essence of each one of us, I'd like to offer you this poem from Hafiz, the great Sufi poet. There are so many gifts still unopened from your birthday. There are so many handcrafted presents that have been sent to you by God. The beloved does not mind repeating, everything I have is also yours. Please forgive Hafez and the friend. The friend is another word for God. If we break into sweet laughter when your heart complains of being thirsty, when ages ago every cell in your soul capsized forever into this infinite golden sea. Indeed, a lover's pain is like the holding one's breath too long in the middle of a vital performance, in the middle of one of creation's favorite songs. Indeed, a lover's pain is the sleeping, this sleeping, when God just rolled over and gave you such a big good morning kiss. There are so many gifts, my dear, still unopened from your birthday. Oh, there are so many handcrafted presents that have been sent to your life from God. So let's take this moment for any exploration, any winding down exploration on your back that is calling to you at this time as we begin to bring our asana practice to a close. So some of you may want to do the traditional complementary pose to the shoulder stand and plow, which is the fish pose, and I'll demonstrate that for those of you who want to do it. Others may just want to take a twist, or maybe wind relieving, whatever it is that calls to you as a nice settling in, winding down, completion pose. For those of you who need a little reminder, the fish pose is just lying on your back, feet together, and tucking your arms under the body, the entire arms tuck under the body. So you're sitting with your butt on the backs of your hands. You tuck your shoulder blades toward one another so the upper arms are tucked under as best you can. And then press into the elbows and palms and forearms to lift the upper arms. Tilt the head back, lift the chin, let the crown of the head come to the mat. Imagine the golden cord lifting, tied around your heart, lifting it to the sky. Lift, lift, lift through that golden cord. Take a deep breath in, stick out your tongue and go. Clearing out the throat chakra. The beautiful center of your voice and your creativity and self-expression. Keep lifting through the heart. You don't want any weight on the crown of your head. You support yourself on your elbows and lower arms. And when you're ready to release, press into the elbows to reach the crown of the head back, settle on the back of your head. And take a moment in Shavasana. You can take this next minute or so to come to completion with your twists, or maybe you're enjoying a hip opener with the soles of the feet together in Baddha Konasana, supine Baddha Konasana, or reclining goddess with the arms in goddess arms. Just tune into what your body, heart, and mind and soul is needing right now. And as you're ready, begin to find your way into corpse pose shavasana. Corpse pose is also known as sponge pose. When I first studied yoga, my very first yoga teacher, Rosalind Lapinto, some of you might have known her. She lived in Ithaca. She taught at the Women's Community Building way back when there was a Women's Community Building. It's gone now. That was my first introduction to yoga at 18 years old. And she called it the sponge pose because it's really a practice of absorbing all of the prana that we freed up. Now it gets to absorb into all of the 72,000 energy channels that make up your subtle body. So think of your subtle body as a network of light and energy. And this whole practice of expansion and contraction, this pulsing that we've done with our body, opens up those channels and invites the essential life force to come streaming in. So turn the palms up so we are in that receiving gesture. Let the feet be a little wider than the hips. Maybe even tucking the shoulder blades a little closer to one another, just slightly, so the heart feels open. Let the eyes close. Let yourself sink into that sponge-like absorption, drinking it into every cell and every nadi. Those nadis, the energy channels. And here's where you can allow your breath to find its natural expansion and contraction, its natural rhythm, without you needing to manipulate it at all. And see if you can tune into the reverberation of every pose, every pulse and expansion and contraction that we played with this morning in our bodies, whether it was gentle or vigorous for you. See if you can notice the echo of it, the reverberation of it, as tingling, as a sense of that aliveness. Perhaps with that quality in your heart of remembering that it's good to be alive. That sense of goodness, gratitude just for being alive is what we want to touch into. It's the life beneath the life story. The story is always going to be full of drama, full of challenges, full of delights and disappointments, gain and loss, fame and shame, things going your way, things not going your way, grief and joy. There's going to be all of that. Underneath that story, that drama that's playing out in each of us, there is an essential aliveness that is a gift. remembering that opening that gift is a discovering of our essential divinity. Thank you for this day, Spirit, thank you for this day. Thank you for this day, Spirit, thank you for this day. This healing, this healing, this healing day. This healing, this healing, this healing day. Thank you for this day, Spirit, thank you for this day. Thank you for this day, Spirit, thank you for this day. This beautiful, beautiful, beautiful day. This beautiful, this beautiful, this beautiful day. Begin to deepen your breath and invite movement into your fingers and toes. Anywhere it wants to flow in the head. Find your wiggles and waggles. Maybe take a nice long stretch, reaching hands back, toes forward. And any movements that bring you onto your side, you can pause there for a moment before pressing yourself up to your yogic seat. And take your time coming up to your yogic seat. Thank you for this day, Spirit, thank you for this day. This healing, this healing, this healing day. This healing, this healing, this healing day. Just breathe in this gratitude for this healing day, for this magnificent life. Bring the hands together in front of the heart. And we'll send out that gratitude with the sound of Om. Namaste.